All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little bit of issue with our internet starting out here, but we are getting ready as part of Election Connection to cover the Democrat meet and greet. We're getting ready to go live to the stage right now.
All right, I hope everybody got their bellies full, or at least got enough food. That way they can take a little break and start to hear some of the excellent speakers we have tonight. We have almost a near complete slate of candidates out here. We feel very fortunate about that, especially where it's so close to the primary elections. It's a very important race. I don't have to tell anyone that. We can look around. We can look on our bank accounts. We can look on the news. We can see the adverse effects of things that are going on around us. So I'm going to let you hear from some people who hopefully will give you a better way and offer you a better path. First up, we're going to start from kind of widest reach all the way down. So we're going to start with our U.S. Senate races. Our very first person speaking is Amy McGrath for U.S. Senate. Amy McGrath. Everyone give her a big round of applause. All right. Should be good for you. Push it down if you need to.
Okay. Can I take it out? All right. I like moving. Hey, everyone. Powell County, good to see you. How are y'all doing today? All right. So first of all, isn't this a great place to be? This structure with this is America here, you know, with all of the plaques of our veterans who built this country. And when I think about where we're at right now, and I think about our democracy, I look at some of these things and I'm thinking, yeah, we need to be patriots. We need to be standing up for our democracy and for our country right now. I think all in our country, okay? And it's not normal. And we have a unique opportunity with this open Senate seat here to have it be filled with somebody who will actually be a voice for Kentucky and not for Elon Musk and not for Mar-a-Lago and not for corporations, all right, but for us. And the way we're going to do that, the way that this is so unique right now is because a lot of what is happening in Washington, unfortunately, a lot of the representatives and senators that our state sent there are actually not focused on us. They're focused on golden ballrooms and starting wars, okay? And meanwhile, had they done absolutely nothing, we would have all been better off. But what they did do was jack up the prices for everybody. And that is what gives us a unique opportunity here. And so as your United States Senator, my first thing is affordability. We're going to get those prices down. How are we going to do that? Well, right now, the average Kentuckian is spending $5,000 more this year than last year. Half of that is because of these dumb tariffs. All right, so we're going to get rid of them. They jack up the prices for everybody. They hurt our bourbon industry and hurt our farmers, and we're going to get rid of them, all right? Then we're going to fix this broken healthcare system. Right now, we're in a stop the bleeding mode. Yes, this big, ugly bill that Andy Barr voted for that guts our rural hospitals, we're going to claw all that back. Claw back the Affordable Care Act subsidies to make healthcare affordable again, all right? And then the last thing, and I can't believe I have to even talk about this, but we are in yet another war in the Middle East. And I know that for a lot of people, we focus on the things that matter right here at home. This is hitting us. It's hitting us in the gas prices. We're seeing two of our fellow Kentuckians who have lost their lives in this war. And it's being run by an incompetent president and an incompetent cabinet. And we need a Senate that has some experience in national security to get us out of this thing, all right? So those are the things that I'm working on. And as your senator, the last thing I'd like for you to know is I'm for structural change. You know, I believe I'm a Democrat. I'm a proud Democrat. But I'll tell you what, we need some real change. And the first bill that I'm going to pass as your senator is if there's a government shutdown, guess who doesn't get paid? Congress. Congress doesn't get paid. All right? But we need things like getting rid of dark money. We need things like term limits. We need things like ending gerrymandering. Oh my gosh, what is happening around our country right now? We have to fix these things. So I want you to know that, okay? I want you to know I'm for structural change to fix our democracy. And finally, look, folks, we're all patriots here. Those of us that stood up and want to become candidates or are candidates, we're trying to do what's right for our country. I appreciate all of you in what you're doing. Everybody can do something, whether it's knock on doors or supporting a campaign or being a candidate or speaking out or getting on social media and duking it out with somebody. Whatever it is, do it, all right? Because it's our country, and we need to save it right now. I'm Amy McGrath. I'd ask for your vote and your support, and we're going to win this thing and beat Andy Barr or Daniel Cameron, whoever the heck gets through on the other side to win this seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Amy McGrath, everybody. Amy McGrath. Coming up next, we have another candidate in the U.S. Senate race, Mr. Logan Forsythe. Everyone give it up for Logan Forsythe.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Good afternoon. My name is Logan Forsythe, and like Amy, I am running to replace Mitch McConnell and be Kentucky's next senator. Right now, I am an attorney. I do workers' rights and civil rights litigation. I represent Kentuckians in the rural parts of the state who their employers have treated them unfairly. Before that, I was a special agent in the United States Secret Service. I started under President Obama. It's an apolitical job, so I did protect President Trump in his first term. My bad. I apologize for that. And I ended that career under President Biden. And if you go really far back in my background, I grew up in rural western Kentucky. I was raised by a single mom. I'm the youngest of four, and we grew up in poverty. Despite her working 2 or 3 jobs all the time, 100 hours a week, we were homeless a lot of the time when I was growing up. We were on Medicaid and we were on food stamps. I grew up on every safety net program and government-backed program that so many hundreds of thousands of Kentuckians rely on every day that gave me opportunities to overcome those circumstances. And it's wrong that those are under attack. It's wrong that the other side says, hey, if you need those, that's because you're lazy. You know, I don't know what more my mother could have done growing up other than working 200 hours a week, but she wasn't too lazy. Most Kentuckians on these programs aren't lazy or looking for a handout. Our state needs and relies on these programs because of the bad leadership that we continually send to D.C. that ensures that our minimum wage doesn't rise. They ensure that you don't get benefits when you go to work. They don't punish employers for stripping away your health insurance or your pensions. They don't look after the people in this room. And they're not going to start. That's why we have to make a change. This year coming up, we have to do more than just be defensive and reactive to the terrible policies that this current administration is doing. There's a reason why Democrats are winning all these elections throughout the country right now. And that's because Democratic platform and policies actually care about people. We are the only party that is standing up for what is right time and time again. The only thing we're not doing in D.C. is we're not winning those fights. We're not winning those fights because our leadership in D.C., and this does not make me popular with our party a lot of the time, they don't fight like they should. They are quick to roll over and they are very slow to do the right thing. And that's not who I am. I will run in bullheaded and stick up for all of you in this room, all your families, all your friends. I will make sure that our Senate, our Congress, puts forth legislation that actually helps average Kentuckians. We're going to change the minimum wage to a living wage standard. And you can call me a socialist if you want, but I believe if you have a job, you should be able to pay your bills. And if that makes me a socialist, I'll wear that label. I believe that your health care should not be tied to employment. I don't care if you're working or not working. I don't care if you're old or young. I don't care what gender you are or what your current health status is. If you are sick or injured, you should be able to see a doctor. That's not a radical idea. That's just the right thing. Going forward, if we don't put candidates through, if we don't come together and vote and support the right people, then not only are we not going to win these races that we can win, but we're not going to get change in the future. We've done everything the other way for far too long. Millionaires and billionaires have been very well represented by our congressmen, our senators. And look at where we are. So I'm not interested in helping them. I'm interested in helping all of you in this room. And with your support and with your guidance, come up to me, talk to me. I have cards here with my actual cell number on there because I'm crazy. You guys can call me. You can text me at any time. Tell me what you need. Tell me what your senator needs to focus on, needs to fight for, and that's what I will do. My name is Logan Forsythe. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Logan Forsythe, everybody. Logan Forsythe. All right, next up, rounding out our slate for the U.S. Senate, we have Vincent Thompson. Vincent Thompson.
Sorry. Sorry. Never put it back in the stand. Traveling around this state like we have, you'll find that it sounds kind of like an echo when we all get up on stage together, so I try to do something to differentiate myself a little bit. We all have a lot of the same policies that we're really focusing on, but I like to play this just to remind us where we are and some of our roots. Well, the sun shines bright on our old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the old folks are gay. Well, the corn tops are ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. Oh, weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We'll sing our song for our old Kentucky home, for our old Kentucky home far away, where the young folks roll all around the cabin floor. They're happy, oh, merry and bright. By and by, hard times will come a knocking at our door, and then our old Kentucky home, good night. Oh, weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We'll sing one song for our old Kentucky home, for our old Kentucky home far away, for our old Kentucky home far away. Well, my name is Vincent Thompson, and I'm running for U.S. Senate. Thank you all for having me here today. This is the 85th county that I visited across this state. I've been doing my best to get all 120. I won't make it by primary, but I have done my best. The reason I'm standing before you, like I said time and time again, if you happen to see me before, my wife passed away in 2020 due to congestive heart failure. She was diagnosed in 2015, battled through it. We were at Jewish Hospital for a time, went through several different surgeries, several different infections, and because of the administration at the time under Mr. Bevin, there was a major attack on pro-choice and feminine rights hospitals and services around that area. And all the staff, all the doctors, all the nurses were trying to leave that area. So the last doctor my wife had up there, she was adamant that she needed a heart transplant. The only place she could get that in this area was at Vanderbilt. The doctor said that she needed a heart transplant, said she would probably be able to get it, even though there's a lot of complications with that. And the one thing that stood in her way was insurance. She was a teacher on disability, and because of the insurance she had, we weren't allowed to go to Vanderbilt. Went to UK. They did a great job up there. I'm not knocking UK at all, but that doctor said that she needed a heart transplant, and she didn't get it. Now, she made it through all sorts of stuff during COVID. Of course, March was when COVID hit. Made it through all that. She was in a comatose state for about 4 months. Got out of that, lost use of her lung on oxygen, got through that. Well, come about September of that year, she went back in the hospital for the last time. October 11th, she passed away, and turns out she had somewhere contracted E. coli. So I hold insurance personally accountable for the fact that my wife didn't get to see my daughter's 7th birthday, her 7th Halloween and her 7th Christmas. Insurance has no place in healthcare. That's between the doctor, the nurse, and the patient. Full stop. And that's what you're going to hear. People that we've been talking to, the only way to do that, we're already paying $8,500 per individual out of our own tax money for insurance in this country. The problem is we have insurance companies, insurance middlemen and women who are adding an additional $4,000 to our insurance. The only way to get rid of that is Medicare for all. That's the one place where we agree. I've got many more places I can speak on, many more things I can talk about. I've got cards. Again, it's Vincent Thompson. Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right, Vincent Thompson, everybody. Vincent Thompson. Let me do a brief introduction on your office real quick. All right, so that was our slate of Kentucky Senate candidates, people running for the U.S. Senate. Next up, we have people running for the 6th District House race, and I'm not going to be able to commit this to memory, so I wanted to just say the 6th District is a fairly diverse group of counties. Anderson, Bourbon, Clark, Fayette, Jessamine, Madison, Mercer, Nicholas, Scott, Woodford, Garrett, Fleming, Estill, and us right here in Powell County. So these people have a good size area to cover, and a lot of people with very articulate needs and just a diverse geography. So first up, we have Harvey Carroll. If everyone would put your hands together for Harvey Carroll. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I believe in the two-party system, the Democrat Party and the party we're having here today. Give yourselves a hand for doing all the great work back here, ladies. Just real quick, are there any veterans here today? Raise your hands, veterans, got a few. Gulf War area or era and beyond. Okay, great. How about spouses of veterans? Okay, several, great. All right, real quick about me. When I was young, I got in politics. I ran for State House of Representatives in the 5 counties. I'm from Irvin, and I covered Powell County. Judge Meadows helped me back in that day. And I spoke to large crowds at Meadowgreen Park, and I won Powell County. Keep that in mind. I won Powell County because I was focused on regional economic development stuff. I actually had the governor's secretary meet at Natural Bridge with me, people from the region, and we got a few things done. Prison in Lee County, some downtown revitalization money for Estill. I think Powell got some, et cetera, et cetera. I also worked on Governor Wilkinson's CARA, Kentucky Education Reform Act, $1.3 billion a year, and I helped write speeches prior to and during the General Assembly that built new schools all over Kentucky. I think there was a lot of school money went to Powell County, Estill, new schools, and of course scholarships to Eastern Kentucky University, University of Kentucky, etc. I think EKU alone got $500 million in scholarships from that over the last several decades since Wilkinson. So I helped you guys a lot, even though I didn't get elected. Now on the national level, when I ran for this office at 27 years old, I got beat by Scotty Basler, the former Lexington mayor, okay? When I ran, the Lexington Herald said I was the most influential international political figure in Kentucky, if you believe what I say. And I've got some books over there with that, clipping from the newspaper on the covers. I dealt with Panama invasion, suggested it 3 months before it happened in a former CIA or Latin American CIA intelligence analyst living room to stop hardcore drugs from coming into the U.S. It's not like marijuana and stuff. You were talking cocaine, crack. It was devastating our cities. I helped plan and organize the first Gulf War. I got these guys in and out in 100 hours. Okay, no dilly-dallying around the desert for decades, and I opposed the return that Bush Jr. did. He sent me a letter when I graduated college and all this, but I was totally against his policies. His dad listened, in and out. And I would have opposed going in the way Trump has went into Iran, which maybe I'll get to speak about. I also dealt with Libya, Syria, hunting Osama. I tipped the possible courier network, and soon after that there was a raid. And this was in Pakistan. I tipped it in Pakistan, not Afghanistan. I've used those same contacts over the past couple of months, and now I was speaking about this at other events, long before Pakistan become in the news. I was back channeling with Pakistan to bring the U.S. and Iran to the negotiation table to prevent a major escalation in war. Unlike the first Gulf War, me organizing 30-plus countries and 70+% of that paid by foreign investors or countries, Trump went alone with just Israel, and you're talking Afghanistan, 43 million people, Iran, 92 million people. That's 135 million people that we could have ended up engaged in fighting with. So you had to be cautious. And Iran is huge. It is bigger than Spain, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom combined. So it would have taken a World War II size force, 1 million people to go in there to scratch the surface. And keep in mind, Iraq and Iran fought for 8 years, and they lost 1 million people. So they wouldn't care to throw 1 million people. So anyway, economic development-wise, I put together some stuff for your industrial park. You need an area regional development center similar to Ignite in Richmond, and I talked to those people how to get the federal grants, state work, and so forth to make that happen, create a campus and industrial park development. So thank you, and I'm sorry I didn't have more time to talk about that. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, Harvey Carroll, everybody. Harvey Carroll. All right, next up we have Mr. Zach Dembo. Zach Dembo, everyone give it up. Also another 6th district candidate. There you are.
Hey, good afternoon, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. I love seeing this turnout. As some of the other candidates said, this is exactly what is going to flip this seat, because some people call this a red district, but I think we all know, coming from the governor on down, this is not a red district. They're just folks here who are tired of what's coming out of D.C. They've had enough, and they're ready for a change. And mornings and afternoons like this show me that's the case. My name's Zach Dembo. I'm a 9th-generation Kentuckian. I grew up in Lexington. My mom grew up in rural Kentucky, Finchville, Kentucky, population 400. She grew up on a small tobacco and dairy farm, and she was the first in our family to go to college. And thankfully, she and my dad really valued education, so I got to get a great education, but I never forgot that I was lucky to do that. And so I spent my whole career trying to pay that good fortune back. The first job I took out of college was as an 8th grade English teacher in rural Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, a town not much bigger than the one my mom grew up in. Amazing job, the hardest job I will ever have. Unlike Nellie in the audience here, I couldn't stick it out for 40 years like she did. But my time in the classroom really taught me about how to fight for folks, how to fight for my students who weren't getting the education they deserved, and how to fight to make sure that no matter where someone's born, what their family life is, how much money they have, that they have the same opportunity as all the rest of us. And that's what's animated my career ever since. I went to law school, and I commissioned on active duty in the Navy. Don't hold it against me, Linville. He's an Army guy. And I was a Navy JAG. So my job was to tell commanding officers what was and wasn't legal, which, unfortunately, as we know, I wish JAGs were being listened to right now because we wouldn't be in some of the messes we're in. But the thing I liked the most was standing up and fighting for sailors and Marines and making sure that their service was respected when I represented them. I came back home when a guy named Andy Beshear got elected governor, and much to my surprise, he asked me to be his policy advisor. And so I got to work side by side with Governor Beshear as his policy advisor and ultimately his legislative director. So I totally forgot when I was wearing this shirt, someone said, which Andy? And I was like, there's only one Andy in my world, so I don't know who you could possibly be talking about. I learned a lot working side by side with the governor every day, and most importantly, it's about how to address things that matter to folks, how to make sure you're keeping it local and making sure you're talking to people about things they care about, and for the purposes of this event, how to make sure Democrats can win in places like Powell and Estill and Nicholas and Fleming. We know it's possible, but you've got to have the right candidate and the right message, and the governor, I think, is a perfect example to follow and one I've intentionally modeled myself after. The only reason I left the governor's employ was to take what I thought was the last job I would ever need, which was being a federal prosecutor in Lexington. There, I was prosecuting federal felonies all over the eastern half of the state, including Powell County. My only job was to do the right thing every day. I was so lucky to do that and serve all of you. But when this administration came in and they changed the Department of Justice to be the president's personal law firm, when they started using it to enable corruption and protect the rich and powerful, instead of prosecuting corruption and holding them accountable, I knew I couldn't be part of that. And so I resigned as a matter of conscience and walked away from 11 years of federal service. That left the question of how do I keep fighting for people, like I fought for my students, like I fought for sailors and Marines, like I fought for victims of crime, and that's why I'm running for office for the very first time. This was not a mission that I had planned on, but with everything going on in D.C., it's a mission I'm honored to accept, and it's one we have to win. The corruption out of D.C., as you all know, is staggering. And first of all, we're talking about the administration, right? This family and this president is making billions off of taxpayer money. So are his friends, so are corporations. They need to be held accountable. But it's not just this administration. Congress has been benefiting and lining their pockets for decades, right? They are allowed to trade individual stocks. They are allowed to be lobbyists at some time after their career. They are more interested in their own political career and lining their pockets than they are in serving us. And we have got to clean that up. And if you need someone to clean it up, a former federal prosecutor who fought corruption his whole career is the person we need to send to D.C. I would be honored to have your support on May 19th, and the only thing I'd say is keep this great energy up. With this energy, we are going to flip this seat and the House and start fighting back against this rampant corruption out of D.C. I'm Zach Dembo. Thank y'all.
Thanks so much. Zach Dembo, everybody. Zach Dembo. Next up, we have Mr. David Kloiber, who's making his way up to the stage. Mr. David Kloiber. Everyone give him a round of applause. I'm a terrible MC. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Hello. Hey, everyone. Thank you all for coming out today. My name is David Kloiber. I'm going to make sure this is not too close. Hi. I'm running for the same seat here, the 6th District Congress seat. We are all thankful that Andy Barr has given us this opportunity by walking away from this seat, and hopefully he is not successful in his future endeavors, because it would be wonderful if we could get some better representation here, maybe someone who does a little more than send somebody out to talk to you every few months. So to give you just the barest minimum of my background, I grew up in Fayette County. I went to school there. I went to the University of Kentucky where I studied physics and mathematics. I left the university to start a software company. I chased a girl to Florida. I convinced her to marry me. We moved right back to Central Kentucky because this is the place I always wanted to raise my family. Since that time, I've not just committed myself to public service in general, but directly to the service of this community. I started a nonprofit that's making sure that teachers and students have the tools they need in the classroom in order to make sure they can succeed when they graduate. I've been working to build up jobs, not just in Central Kentucky, but around the country, and making sure that each of my employees has the benefits they need in order to provide for their families. I also served on city council in Lexington. I ran for mayor back in 2022, and I'm standing here before you because I'm hoping to continue that dedication to making the place I live and I'm raising my family a place where they can raise their kids as well. Now, you definitely do not need me to stand up here and tell you what the problem is. I think everybody sitting here who gave up some time on a Saturday afternoon knows what the problems are. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell you what I will do as your representative. Too often politicians get really caught up in telling you who they are or what they believe. And I can tell you my beliefs that every single person deserves to have a house, to have health care, and to be paid a living wage. But those things are just goals. What we need is a plan. So I sat down and wrote 3 bills. Each one of these bills addresses one of those issues and gives us a concrete way to make sure that your life here in Powell County can be improved. These are not just ideals, it's a solid plan. The first one of those on healthcare, it's getting you the healthcare you already paid for. Did you all know that you have spent over $200 billion over the last 10 years subsidizing pharmaceutical research? And how much do you think that's reduced the cost of your prescription drugs? None. In fact, we pay 4 times more on average than any other country in the world for the drugs we helped to develop. My bill says explicitly, if those companies want our money, our taxpayer dollars for research, they have to guarantee us the same price they give to Canada, the same price they have in Mexico or overseas. We don't need to keep paying for it twice. That's a common sense solution that lowers the cost of health care by 15 to 20% across the board. That could be at least $1,200 a year in your pocket, and we can start moving towards a public option. Now, is that a real plan? Is that something we can actually put forward and get done? It is, and I've got the bill to prove it, and we can put it in committee on day 1. When it comes to getting you the housing, reducing your cost of housing, I've put forward a bill that says your community can incentivize developers by making sure their profits are where you need the development. If you need more single-family homes, if you need more affordable housing, if you need more housing for first-time home buyers, you as a local community get to decide where the money is. I know in Lexington we've got a whole lot of people building student housing, and that's not what we need. With this bill, not only can we change it in Lexington, but you guys here in Powell County can do the same. My third bill is all about making sure that the companies we work for can pay us what we're worth, and that's a living wage. And in doing so, they can be more profitable. How many of you guys know Costco's policy on how they pay their employees? Well, Costco makes sure that every single one of their employees has enough money and benefits to take care of their family. That's right there in their core principles. I've got 30 seconds. All right, 20. Now I've got less. Anyways, we need to make sure that companies like Costco are the ones that are more profitable instead of the Sam's Club. If you're doing right by us, we do right by you. Anyways, my name's David Kloiber. I'm running for Congress to make this community the best it can be because it's where I'm raising my family, and I want you to be able to raise yours. I ask for your support on May 19th. Thank you very much. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, David Kloiber, everybody. David Kloiber. All right, next up we have Erin Petrey.
Chad, thank you. Thank you, Chad. I grew it myself. Hello, Powell County. Oh, please. I know I don't want to be that person to be like, can we do better? No, it's great to be back in Powell County. I have a really special place for this county in my heart, not just because the people who I've met here are, I see you smiling, Shirley, are some of the most, just truly incredible folks I've ever met, but because Stanton is a place that featured very prominently in my childhood. So I grew up on a farm in Lawrenceburg, but my dad's family is from Hazard. And so coming from Lawrenceburg to Hazard, this is the exact halfway point. So we pulled off that exit a lot, right? That was always our stop. And so, I spent a lot of time, going through this part of the country. And one of the things that we continue to see is rural folks, poorer areas, being shoved to the sidelines in favor of those who are wealthy and powerful. And that is not acceptable. That's why I'm running for Congress. See, I spent my career, well, originally I wanted to be a foreign service officer. I wanted to go around the world and tell people, like, America's amazing. This is the great thing about democracy. But I graduated during the Great Recession after I got my master's at UK, and there weren't any jobs. So I went to South Korea and I taught English in a low-income public elementary school for a year. And then I came back, tried to find a job again right here in Kentucky, and story the same. Not a lot of great jobs. And I'm sure that there are some of you in here who've had that exact same experience, or you know somebody who's had that experience, that you just can't find those good jobs here. So I left for D.C. I ran a foreign embassy, but after that, I became a program manager for large-scale infrastructure projects. I helped build big things, create jobs throughout the South and throughout the Mid-Atlantic, and I even worked in the Middle East. I know how to build big things with big budgets and schedules and do it right, on time, and making sure your people are treated well. But in November 2024, I had a decision to make, and that was to either sit around and complain about how things were, or I could do something about it. And I was always taught that you need to do something about it. So I did. I wasn't seeing the kind of leadership that I needed to see, that we needed to see in Washington. The Democrats had just become complacent, had also been a lot of times bought by corporations, and we need to bring accountability back to that, because the folks who are hurting the worst are folks like you here in Powell County. People are being bought and sold in Washington just to hold on to their own power, and that has to stop. And so that's why I believe strongly in bringing accountability back to government, passing term limits, banning congressional stock trading, making sure that we end corporate money in politics and overturn Citizens United. Yeah, yes. Let's end Citizens United, yes. But also, we are Democrats, right? We need to serve the people we were asked to serve and we were created to serve in the first place, and that is working people, not the ultra wealthy. And that is who I want to serve, is the working people and all of you. Powell County is particularly situated here on that same road that I went to Hazard on so many times as a kid. The Mountain Parkway, which was recently extended by Andy Beshear. We have incredible opportunity here, but why isn't Powell County reaping those benefits? Well, it's because Andy Barr's probably sold you out. We need someone who won't just answer to big donors, answer to billionaires, answer to corporations or special interests. I have decried ever taking corporate PAC money or special interest money. I won't do it because that's not the right thing to do. But I believe in investing in communities right here like this. And I also believe investing in one of the biggest employers in almost every county in this state, and that is our school districts. I am a proud graduate of Kentucky Public Schools, and I have proposed a moonshot program to put billions of dollars into a large grant program to take wages from where they are and close that gap to at least a living wage. Because we need to invest in our teachers, because that's investing in our economy and our future. And that is what we need to do. But housing is also a problem. And we need to make sure that Airbnb and Verbo and all these people coming in here trying to buy up houses, jacking up the rates, and pushing people out like you. So we need to do something, and I'd hope to be able to work with Brinton, our next PVA, to actually bring down those prices and make Kentucky affordable, accessible, and full of opportunity again. My name is Erin Petrey, and I kindly ask you for your vote on May 19th.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, Erin Petrey, everybody. All right, next up, rounding out our slate, we have Miss Cherlynn Stevenson. Everyone give Cherlynn a round of applause. There you go.
Well, hello, everybody. I love being in a big room full of Democrats like this, and Powell County definitely knows how to show up. Well, I am Cherlynn Stevenson, and it is Cher like Sonny and Cher, and Lynn like Loretta Lynn, but it's all one word. And just like Loretta Lynn, I was born a coal miner's daughter. I was born and raised in Knott County, grew up in a holler there in Hindman. My mama was a teacher, my second grade teacher, and my dad was an Army veteran turned coal miner. You know, and they taught me very, very early on that faith and family and community was absolutely the things that we always stand strong for. And I come from a very long line of coal miners who a very long time ago got really tired of living in the company town, owing the company store, and they decided one day that they had had enough, that they were going to band together, stand up, and fight back, and that is absolutely what we need to be doing right now. We have an administration and a president that is completely bought and paid for. We have a Congress that is completely bought and paid for. And we have a Supreme Court that is absolutely bought and paid for. Right now, we have billionaires running this country, and they do not give one iota of a care for any of us. They believe that we are cogs in a wheel to them. We exist to serve them. And let me tell you, they benefit from keeping us divided. And they find all kinds of ways to do that. They divide us by party. They divide us by race. They divide us by class. They divide us by who we love and how we worship. But guess what? We have all got to decide, because this election coming up in November is the most important one that we have ever seen in our lifetimes. And we say that over and over and over, but it is here. And if we don't decide collectively that we are tired of punching right and left, and we decide that we're going to punch up instead, then we are not going to have a country left. But when we do that and we punch up together, that is how we get a government for, of, and by the people once again. Everyday Kentuckians deserve to be represented by everyday Kentuckians. I grew up, again, teacher and coal miner, strong union household. I know what the collective looks like. I know what solidarity looks like. I've been taught it my whole life. And standing up together for the people of the 6th District is absolutely what I want to do. Now, growing up there and then going to school at Moorhead, I became at that point what I call a mountain Democrat. And I know that every single one of you know what that means. And yes, and that means that we are tough, and that we have grit, and we have determination, and we don't take no for an answer, and we will not back down. And I want to be that voice for you in Washington. I served in our state house for 6 years. I flipped a district on the south side of Lexington that had never, ever been held by a Democrat or a woman. And we did that by 48 votes. And you know why I did that? Because they were coming after our public schools, and they were coming after our public pensions. So a bunch of retired teachers and I got together, and we knocked on 25,000 doors, and we flipped that district, and we did not look back. So then they came after me in redistricting. They made that red district even redder, and I held on by 37 votes. So I know how to flip a district. I know how to talk to voters from all sides of the aisle. And I'm the only person in this race that can say that. I'm the only person in this race that has survived the nasty and divisive politics that unfortunately dominate our elections today. And I'm the only one that has already stood on a House floor and fought back against MAGA Republicans. I am also the only person in this race that hasn't been able to write themselves a big old check or is funded by a billionaire. 70% of my donations are $25 or less. And that means that everyday grassroots people are supporting us because they know that I am going to go to Washington and fight for them and their families, because Mountain Democrats know we fight without fear. I am Cherlynn Stevenson, and I would love to have your vote on May 19th. And then we are going to flip this seat from red to blue. Thank y'all so much.
All right, Cherlynn Stevenson, everybody. All right, that concludes our slate for the Kentucky 6th District. I want to remind everyone real quick, if you didn't get a ticket when you walked in for the door prize, please do that. We'll be drawing that at the end of the local candidates. Also, we have some campaign merchandise from all of our excellent candidates available over here. You'll see some yard signs. I'm assuming they're all free to take and put up in your yard whenever you want to. So next up, we're going to be moving on to our local Kentucky races. We'll be talking to David Johnson from the Kentucky 91st District. That is parts of Madison, Estill County, and Powell County. So if you would, put your hands together for David Johnson.
That's all right. Good afternoon, Powell County. How are you? Good. Well, I normally don't get to talk in front of a lot of large crowds, so I always like to write down exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it. And this afternoon, I want to talk to not only the people here, but also the people that's listening on the radio as well. Good afternoon, everybody. Like I said, my name is David Johnson, and it's truly a pleasure to be back here in Powell County. I've spent some time here in this county with the hardworking people who call Powell County home. I have family here. I have friends here. And like many of you, I care deeply about what happens in this part of the state. And the truth is, right now, in the state of our nation and in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, the people are hurting. We are, in fact, living in uncertain times. And I use that quote from the state Republican Senate leadership. And they've said that to be true. There is instability in the world, uncertainty in our economy, and hardworking Kentuckians right here in the 91st House District are feeling the pinch. Gas prices are high. Groceries cost more now than they did 2 years ago. Homeowner insurance and car insurance is higher than ever before. Utility rates are higher than ever before. So the cost of living keeps going up and up on everything, but too many paychecks are not keeping up with the bills. People are working harder than they have ever before, doing everything that they are told to do. And they are still sitting at that kitchen table wondering how far they're going to stretch that paycheck. But I understand your concerns because I've lived it. I'm not a career politician. I'm a public school teacher. I teach 4th grade special education in Clark County. I've worked real jobs. Thank you. I've worked real jobs. I've worked paycheck to paycheck. I think most of the people in this district is, or has been, or still is. I am not endorsed by any lobbyist or political machine between here and Frankfort. I know what real life looks like. And I want to ask you this question. If what we've been doing is working, then why are the working families in the 91st House District still struggling? That is my question to not only you today, but to the people who are also listening on radio. So Kentucky doesn't have a people problem. Kentucky has a General Assembly priority problem. And I am proud to be in the 91st House District. We are a gerrymandered district, but I love Powell County, I love Estill County, and I'll be happy to serve as your next state representative. Thank you.
All right, David Johnson, everybody. All right, I want to take this moment to remind everyone that we have a silent auction table in the back. We are going to be ending the silent auction right about in the middle of the local candidates. We'll have a last call then for the silent auction. So now we're going to move on to our county races. We have a bucket to pass around. So, as many of you all know, times are hard for everyone, including us. Since COVID, it's been difficult to raise money. We still have expenses to pay. Putting on events like this, we have a lot of donations come in, which is very helpful. But things like promoting it and advertising, some of the supplies you see aren't cheap, aren't free. So we're going to be passing around a donation bucket. If you would, Mr. Dean Rogers back here will have that. Just any cash would go a long way to helping out, cover some of these expenses, and kind of get us in the green for the event. So Dean will be walking around with that. If you would, just help us out. So I'm moving on to our local candidates. First up, we have our judge executive candidates, and we have Mr. Dwain Anderson. running for Judge Executive of Powell County. And again, thanks everyone for attending this event. It's a lot. It's a lot to put these things on, and you're a great group of people. A lot of this is going out on broadcast right now, so thank you all very much. Dwain Anderson, everybody. All right. You help up. There you are.
Most of you here know who I am. But for those who don't, my name is James Dwain Anderson. And most of you probably know me as Dwain. My dad's name was James, my name was James, and my son that served 3 terms as county judge executive was James. My dad was known as Dick Anderson. People had no idea that his name was James. I always went by my middle name, and then we called James by James. People say, why do you want this? I'm sort of on the backside of 50, if you know what I mean. A little more than that. But we need someone that represents the people of the county. Last year, you were granted, where you liked it or not, about a $1.2 or $1.3 million tax increase. And a lot of it you don't see, but if you get your water bill, each month, you've got an extra $5 on there. All right, don't sound like much, but what's 12 times 5 for every water bill you've got? $60. And we were told we needed that because we lost CSEP money, and that was to make up for that. And that was what we needed. Then, in addition to that, you got a 0.5% occupational tax, which is whatever your gross is. People got to understand that an occupational tax is off of your gross. And that contributed about $1 million, close to $1 million to the tax increase. Also, they proposed, if you look at your insurance, car and auto and home, it's fairly high. I know this year on my home, Nellie and I are paying $138 to the county for tax on that insurance policy, and altogether it's close to $500. But our illustrious judge proposed doubling that, and I spoke against that. They didn't do that, but it had a first reading, and I guess in theory he can bring it up at any time and vote on it. So we need to be mindful of that. People say, what are you going to do? Well, let me say that I've got an example to go by. A lot of times we pattern after somebody we know, and I'll do that too to a certain extent. I'll pattern after what James Anderson did for 3 terms in this county. If you look at your bills and your tax bills, it tells you the different entities that get tax increases. Right? If you go back and check the record, in the 3 terms that James was here, the county part of tax he never raised. Now, you know, your library board, your extension board, your health board can all take a 4%. The county can take a 4% if they want, without voting on it. But James says, Daddy, as long as we don't need that, I'm not going to do it, because new property is a given, and if property sales, it's a given, and he didn't do that. And the whole time he was there, he sought out grants. The first year that he was out of, got all those grants. He said they're not giving him credit, but they all went there. What do we need? We need to be physically responsible. I can't stand here and tell you, because between now and November, what they will spend. But I will say this. I don't intend on raising any taxes unless it would absolutely be necessary, and I won't pull nothing behind you. I'll tell you. Don't plan on making a career of it. Like I say, at my age, I plan on doing what's right. For me, for you, for your kids, for your grandkids. a little bit about me, and I'll close. I was raised in Powell County, been here all my life, graduated from Powell County High, got my degree from the University of Kentucky, spent 20 years in a factory in tool and die, spent 13 years as union president. And I will say, all of the candidates here, both for federal and state office, we've got a fine set of candidates. If you listen to what they say, we're going to be well blessed by whoever wins it. It's impressive. It truly is impressive what we've got. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you and hold on too long. I would appreciate your vote. I'm running in the spring. My opponent is here. I wish everybody good luck. Wish him good luck. And I hope to be here in the fall and would ask for your support too. So y'all have a good day.
Appreciate it. Dwain Anderson, everybody. All right, up next, we have Mr. Larry Morton, who is also running in the Judge Executive's race for Powell County. So if you would, put your hands together for Mr. Larry Morton.
I can't believe you people have allowed me to have a microphone. I'll try to rein it in and be polite. And normally, some of you that know me know that I can be kind of loud and boisterous within the community, but I'm truly a nice guy. So for the folks that don't know who I am, let me try to explain that to you. If you can't tell, I didn't come prepared. But my name's Larry. I'm ninth generation Powell Countyan. My family's been here in this area since about 1795. I sprang from Powell County soil, and hopefully it's on down the road, but when God calls me home, I'll be laid back into Powell County soil. I have a love for this community deeper than just about anybody you'll ever meet. And I'll just go ahead and tell you guys, I don't have a political mind. I'm not a politician at all. I've got the faculties to understand it, but I'm not a politician. What I am is I'm a neighbor. I'm your buddy. And that's what I'll continue to be. This isn't a profession. I just have a strong love for the community, and I've seen some issues crop up over the past several months that has kind of got me involved. Now, as far as my leadership style, I'm not a leader in the traditional sense of what we would define a leader to be. What I am is an advocate. I have a strong love for everybody in my community, regardless of where you fall on a political spectrum, what class you're from, what religion you belong to. I represent absolutely everybody in the community. And my personal politics, my own ideologies take a back seat in everything that I'm involved in. What comes first is you and everybody else in the community. I represent no organizations or any larger motives of any type. My concern is everybody that lives in my home, because I don't like the way governments and politics operate. I want us to be reminded that we're a single family here in the county, and that's the way we need to behave. And I would greatly appreciate your consideration on Election Day. I would really love your vote, but the thing that I would love even more than a vote is if when everybody exits this building today, even if you don't like me, you don't want to see me hold any title, I want you to think about your neighbor. That's more important to me than anything else. Right now in the county, we have a bunch of struggling families and individuals. And let me remind everybody that throughout the county, we have these things called blessing boxes that are scattered throughout the county. And I know every one of you pass them. Well, that's my time. If you guys want me to finish that out, catch me out in the parking lot and I'll talk your heads off.
Larry, always appreciate it. Larry Morton, everybody. Larry Morton. All right, so moving on, we have our PVA candidates. So this will be Brinton Epperson running for Property Valuation Administrator. Everyone give it up for Brinton Epperson.
Hello, I'm Brinton Epperson. I am not a professional speaker. I did bring notes. I noticed nobody else used them. I thought, look for the teleprompter, but I couldn't find it. I have lived here in Powell County my entire life, mostly on the eastern end of the county. I currently live on Cane Creek. I've lived on North Fork, briefly on High Rock, and even a little stint in Slade right as soon as I got married. I was educated at Powell County High School, graduating in 1993. I eventually graduated from Morehead State University, summa cum laude. They didn't hold what I did at UK and KSU against me, thankfully. I want to be your next PVA. I'm pretty confident that I will be your nominee for this fall. It is an opposed primary, so I do need you to vote for me on May the 19th. Unfortunately, Carmel Noble, who is my opponent, couldn't be here today. She had a prior engagement. The reason I want to be your next PVA is because I feel like there's a lot we can do as a party. As a Democrat, I myself can help a lot with the PVA office to make sure that people are protected from high taxes. One way that I can do that is to make sure that all of the discounts and factors that go into lessening a tax bill are properly applied to your tax bill. Powell County is facing a crisis right now in rising property values brought on by tourism. It's impossible almost to even buy a house here in Powell County. It's hard to find one. It's hard to find a crew to come and build one. It's hard to get a home here that you can buy and live in. So many of our homes have been bought by rich developers, by corporations to turn into Airbnbs. I'm sure you probably know that when a house sells, the PVA automatically assesses it for the value that it sold at. But if ownership hasn't changed, houses do need to be physically inspected and reassessed every 4 years. One way that reassessment occurs is to compare the price that it's currently assessed at to the sale price of other homes nearby. Now, if your neighbor sells his house for $600,000 and you just paid $200,000 for your house and they look just alike, it follows that your house should also now be assessed for $600,000. That makes for a heck of a high property tax bill. But what happens is that house next door might be turned into an Airbnb. They might be renting it out every weekend for hundreds of dollars. And that property should no longer be considered a residential property for the comparison. That should be moved over to commercial property and have that assessment based on income, and your property tax bill should stay the same. Again, that's just one way in which a PVA who knows the process and knows how it works can help. I have worked in the PVA office very briefly under Miss Betty Atkinson to help measure houses many, many years ago, early in my career. And I would appreciate your support a great deal on May the 19th, and of course in November, when I will have a battle against an incumbent. And again, I appreciate your support. I'm Brinton Epperson, and thank you very much.
All right, Brinton Epperson, everybody. Brinton Epperson. All right, next up we have Mike Townsend for sheriff. Before Mike gets here, I want to remind everyone that we're doing last call at the silent auction table where Tina is. Tina, raise your hand. So if you want to get a last minute bid in, now's your time. All right, everyone, Mike Townsend. There you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Townsend, and I'm your candidate for Powell County Sheriff. I went to school here in Powell County. I am trained through multiple police academies. I'm very qualified for the job. I've worked as a deputy sheriff. I've graduated from the State Police Academy. That was my first training. I graduated from the Federal Law Enforcement Academy worked as a federal law enforcement officer. And then I came back and I'm certified through the Department of Criminal Justice Training at Richmond as a law enforcement officer and hold a certification as a professional police officer. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant. All right? I started as a public servant straight out of high school. I went straight to the military and served in the military and came back and started serving with the Clay City Volunteer Fire Department, working for free, long hours, hard work, while maintaining a job and taking care of family issues. I later left the law enforcement profession for a short time, but went back into it as a federal law enforcement officer. I worked there where I retired. I came back here and started working as a deputy sheriff. I worked as a deputy sheriff on the road for a while, but then I went into the schools. One of the best jobs I've ever had, working, protecting your kids. I love that job. I love the kids. And it's just one of the greatest feelings, especially nowadays when I see some of these kids that's grown up and have their families. They come to me and want to talk to me and tell me how much I helped them or how good I was to them. And that's the same thing that I want to do for everyone in Powell County if I'm elected. I want to read something to you here that means a lot to me. That when I first filed and put on Facebook that I was going to run for sheriff, I got a message from a person, and here's what they said. I'm going to vote for you. We stood up to disagree against each other one time, but found a way to work for the person involved, legally able to fix it. I think says a lot. I'm willing to work with the public, and we may disagree, and I'm sure that we will have disagreements in the future. But because we're willing, and I'm willing to work together and work with you, there's nothing I don't think that we cannot accomplish. Want you to come visit me. If I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to get this office, I want you to walk in and sit down and be comfortable like you own the place. Because I'm going to tell you something. You do. You own that office. I work for you, or I will work for you. And get elected or not, without your support and the help of the public, it makes it difficult to do this job. And I think that's what makes it such a great position to be in, is the fact that we can all work together to resolve issues and make Powell County a safe place for our families. Thank you.
All right, Mike Townsend, everybody. Excuse me. All right, next up, we have our candidate for county clerk. We have Miss Tosha Tipton coming to the stage. Everyone put your hands together for Miss Tosha Tipton.
I'm pretty nervous, so just bear with me. I'd like to take this opportunity to just tell you a little bit about myself and my vision for the clerk's office. I was born and raised in Powell County. My first job was at Wilsey's Pizza. When I learned to drive, there was one stoplight here. So I'm pretty old, but that's okay. I'm the daughter of the late Pamela McIntosh Tipton and Glenn Tipton. I graduated from Powell County High School in 2000 with valedictorian honors. I attended Eastern Kentucky University and majored in communications and public relations. After college, I took over my family's business, and I ran one of the largest consignment auctions in Kentucky for nearly 2 decades. Now you'll find me most days living my best life in the Gorge, where I run a fudge and ice cream shop. I'm no stranger to hard work. I pour myself fully into everything I do. I'd give 110% as county clerk. I'm a people person. I believe that public servants should start with listening, understanding, and treating every person with respect. I would operate a professional and friendly clerk's office that would be welcoming, organized, and efficient. My vision is to manage an office that reflects the integrity, loyalty, and professionalism that the residents of Powell County deserve. I'm a proven leader with strong conflict resolution skills. I approach challenges with patience, fairness, and a solution-focused mindset that will always put the people of Powell County first. I am fully committed to serving Powell County. Thank you.
Good, Tosha. All right, Tosha Tipton, everybody. All right, coming up next, we're going to move to our magisterial candidates running for 4th District Magistrate. We have Mr. John Barker making his way to the stage. Everyone give John a round of applause.
How y'all doing? Nice to meet you. A little nervous, not really a politician. I have held the Magistrate District 4 seat from 2010 to 2014. I really liked being the magistrate, but and I would like to continue to serve the people of the county, Powell County. I'm from the eastern end of the county, lived there all my life. I've got a construction background, building bridges, built cabins, houses, but I really like to be the magistrate in District 4 and to work with the county judge executive. I just think that the last 4 years, a lot of things have changed, and I don't like the way that things has changed. It's been for the worst, in my opinion. But I would like to ask for everybody's support and just try to get out. I'm unopposed in the primary, but I need everybody's support in the fall. Everybody could help me or know anybody that could help me or any way, I'd really appreciate it. I'm not much of a talker in front of people, but I can talk your leg off outside or whatever you need to ask. And I would like to, I really enjoyed being a magistrate back from 2010 to 14. I really like to go out with the road crew, and you could call, and I'd go out and patch potholes on my own. People in the district, I'd do anything for anyone, don't matter the party. But I really would like to win this seat back this fall, if possible, and continue to help move District 4 forward. Work with hopefully we have a new county judge executive and work with them. Well, my name's John Barker, and if y'all can help vote for me in November, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Hi, Mr. John Barker, everybody. All right, so we have one more speaker for you, Miss Darlene Drake, representing the 5th District. While Darlene's making her way to the stage, I would ask Tina to go ahead and collect the silent auction sheets. So the silent auction will now be ending. Once Darlene finishes, we will do her drawing for the door prize and then let you all continue mingling. So if you would, put your hands together for Miss Darlene Drake.
Well, I'm not much of a speaker, but I don't care to get out and talk to anybody. Now, let me tell you something. I don't care to go to Frankfurt. I don't care to go to Washington, D.C. Whatever I can do for my district, I'm going to do. So you people be made aware that are here today. If you're elected, I'll be to see you if I'm elected, okay? Second, I want to say, because nobody seemed to mention it today, Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Second, I can only tell you, and I get emotional, okay? I love my county, I love my state, and I love my country. We live in the greatest place in the world, and I am so thankful for that. I will let you know that in District 5, I plan to start my campaign June the 1st because I'm not on the ballot in May. I have no opposition. I intend to ask people what is important to them, and that will be what I work on, okay? Whether it's roads, whether it's funding, grants, that's what I'll be doing. What my district needs is what I'll do. I would really appreciate your vote and influence. If you're not in my district, maybe you know somebody that is, get out and talk to them, okay? Democrats and Republicans have got to work together, people. We cannot continue this backbiting, ugly talk. You've got to work together, regardless of what party you are. I'm a Democrat. The Democrats have been good to me. I'm a retired circuit clerk. My husband was a retired county judge. My family has been treated well by the Democrats of this county, and I appreciate that. But I also know that you have to work with both parties. And everything, you talk about taking back the state for Democrats. You got to start locally, people. We've got to get some local people elected in these offices so that they can go to Frankfurt or can go to Washington, D.C. to try to get the things that we need. I put God first, my family second, and my county third. That's how my life is. I love you all. I wish you the very best, everybody that's running. And we'll see you in November.
Thank you, Darlene. All right, thank you all so much for staying around, listening to our fantastic slate of candidates. One thing is for sure, Kentucky's future is bright. Powell County's future is bright. We have good leadership, and we are so lucky to have them. So if everyone would, please, one more time, give WSKV a big round of applause. Thank you all very much. Good night. Oh, that was for him. Okay, so next up.